And welcome back to the next installment of Nights Around the Fire. I'm David Tomsick. I'm here with our researcher, Sue Taylor.
Hi, guys.
One of them. So, Sue, tonight is a special night. We're going to start, because it's really Halloween season. I know we already see a lot of decorations out. The stores have Halloween decorations out the wazoo. So we're going to start out with a ghost story. How's that? And what's the ghost story about tonight?
We're going to talk about the ghost of the Titanic.
Uh-oh.
One of my favorite topics.
Sue mentioned to me to make sure we watch the time because she can talk about the Titanic all night. But we're going to give you what's most important, the fact that there's some ghosts associated with the Titanic. And of course, why wouldn't there be, right? So, Sue, we know the Titanic is one of the most famous shipwrecks of all time.
Yes, it is.
Can you give us some details?
So I want to give a couple of public service announcements before we
PSA?
get into this. First of all, I am not going to go deep into the history of the Titanic. If you want to go deep into the history of the Titanic, you can either email me here at our email, strangeworld777@yahoo.com, or you can go check out one of my two favorite Titanic channels. You can go check out Historic Travels with Sam or Ocean Liner Designs with Mr. Mike Brady. So one of those two will give you all the history if you don't know a thing about the Titanic.
We'll link them in the description tab down there. So take a look.
The other thing is, our recommended reading this week is the Something's Alive on the Titanic by Robert Sterling. And Something's Alive on the Titanic by Robert Sterling is a pure work of fiction. I started it Sunday and rationed it out, so I did not finish it all in one night. And very good book. Really, I gave it 4 stars.
4 stars?
Yeah, I thought it was very good. And it is, just to clarify, if you read a book or if you listen to a YouTube video about people who are diving in the Titanic, work of fiction. It cannot happen. They cannot send divers in. It is too far down. There is no safe way to do it. The Something's Alive on the Titanic is set in 1993. We don't have the technology in 2025 to dive to the Titanic. They certainly didn't have it then. So,
okay, good safety tip.
Good safety tip.
I wouldn't try to do this on your own.
Segueing into that means that there have been no official ghost hunts at the wreck of the Titanic.
Can't take the old meters down there and walk around and say, is anybody here?
No, I don't think Ken, our ghost hunter expert, is going to be volunteering anytime soon.
He doesn't look like a diver.
No.
Okay, safety tips out of the way. Okay, so the reality of it is the Titanic was lost quite a long time ago.
Yes.
And there's probably not a lot left of the wreck. I mean, what's left of the hull is disintegrating, and it is very, very deep. And, of course, they did find it, and they used subs and other types of basically robotic equipment to investigate it. Am I right?
Yes, you were correct. Robert Ballard found it in 1987, I believe.
And, of course, we're not going to get into the movie because we know what happened.
Movie.
It was sad. It was a sad movie, and it was a very sad way these people perished.
There are people who like the movie, and there are people who like the Titanic. Movie people, Titanic people.
You're the Titanic people.
I am a Titanic person, and my sincerest apologies to my friend Tammy. She was a movie person.
Sorry, Tammy.
Yeah, no, Titanic movie people and Titanic people. Nah,
Oil and water.
2 different things. Yeah,
okay.
2 different things.
Okay, so we know that it sunk. We know that they hit an iceberg.
They did.
We know they thought it was unsinkable.
It was not to get too much into the history. It was believed to be unsinkable, but it was never marketed by the White Star Line as unsinkable.
Okay, so because it did sink anyway.
It did. Clearly, whoever marketed it or said that or whatever, clearly they were wrong because it's now sitting at the bottom of the North Atlantic.
Okay, so where do the ghosts fit in now? Where do we find these stories coming from?
So, according to Webster's Dictionary, a ghost is a disembodied soul, especially the soul of a dead person, believed to be an inhabitant of an unseen world or appear to the living in bodily likeness. And what forms a ghost is humans are made up of energy. So if somebody passes away, what happens to that energy? Like, do you destroy that energy? Does it stay? So the theory is if you believe in ghosts, that energy is what will make up the ghostly presence. And it is believed that people who die in particularly violent, tragic fashions are more than likely to become ghosts because there's just that piece that's keeping them connected to the earth.
If you're in a tragedy, and this has been pretty much a story told many times, something severe happens to you. You can have a disembodied spirit that's stuck here
Yes.
on Earth.
Yes.
Now, of course, let's be honest, I guess the Titanic fits into that.
That's it exactly, and that's what causes the haunting around the Titanic because it was 1,500 people lost their lives when the Titanic sank, and it was all of those people's energy. And the particularly horrific part, these people didn't think they were going to die. They thought they were going to ride this fantastic luxury liner all the way to New York and be the first people to come over on this ship. And they were all going to go about their lives. And some of them were going to start brand new lives in America. Yeah. And all of that was taken away from them by an iceberg.
Okay, so when did we hear about the very first ghost sighting?
So potentially as early as when Robert Ballard discovered the Titanic.
Okay.
Now, I don't have a source for this. This is just one of those things that I picked up on Reddit, and you all can take Reddit for what you will. Anybody can post whatever they want on Reddit. There is a story out there. It's a good ghost story that Robert Ballard's crew, as they were ascending after they had first been down to look at the wreck, saw faces looking out of portholes.
That's pretty creepy.
Yep. So that's a thing.
So they're in their little sub, and they're coming up, and they're looking at the Titanic, and faces are in all the portals.
Like, just imagine, because the ship is so far down, sunlight can't penetrate.
Yeah.
So just imagine you're in the total darkness. Like, it really does feel like a good place for ghost. Like,
it's a good place for a ghost story.
Yeah. And these ghosts are probably like, would you just go away? Like, why do you all keep coming down here?
Well, I'm assuming because of the lights on these subs, that they were pointing the light at the Titanic.
Yes.
And obviously the ghosts noticed that, and they wanted to see what's happening, and they saw each other.
They probably saw these weird people sitting in this little submarine. Well, the ghost, they didn't know what a submarine was, I'm sure.
No, they had subs.
No, they had submarines. It just, yeah.
Yeah,
they did, because the earliest one they used in the Civil War.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, okay, I'll go with this. We're going to go with this. Okay, so they first saw the ghosts there.
Yeah.
What else has happened?
So what else has happened is supposedly on that same trip, or one of his trips out there, Dr. Ballard saw, or didn't see, he heard orchestra music playing around the wreck of the Titanic. And historical piece for you is that the Titanic's band played right up until the sinking. And the last song that they played, and Sam from Historic Travels kind of debunked this, the last song that they played was Nearer My God to Thee. So the orchestra music around the site is very fitting.
Wow. Yeah, that would not be something I'd want to hear in the middle of the ocean, knowing there's a shipwreck below me.
So what if I told you it gets worse? Supposedly, Ballard was out on the deck of the ship when they were looking for the wreck, and he supposedly heard moans and cries coming from the ocean.
Now that can be terrifying.
If I had to pick one of the two, I would pick the orchestra music.
Okay, so
I don't know if ghosts take requests, but
right, I don't know
if
if
they
take
do.
requests. Okay, so I'm guessing he could hear that they were cries and moans compared to any of the other noises you hear in the sea.
Yes.
These would have to be really specific human sounds.
Yes, and it's 500 miles from land?
Yes,
I want to say.
Yeah, it's quite a distance.
So it's not like it's something that you could have overheard.
No.
From somewhere else.
Okay, so we have a terrifying wreck, disembodied spirits, investigation into the Titanic itself, which still goes on today, right?
It does. There's more evidence from the wreck.
Oh my.
Submarines in the area that are passing through there have picked up strange distress calls. One of them was picked up as far as Newfoundland. And when the people that picked it up at Newfoundland asked what ship was in distress, the response they got back was Titanic.
So that is a transmission, ghostly transmission from the past.
Yes. Yes, the Titanic is still looking for assistance.
So in a way, I've heard this, and so maybe you've heard this. I've heard that many times things replay themselves over and over again. That energy of that transmission, which is energy, is still out there. And okay, I don't know this stuff for sure, but it sounds like if they picked it up on their equipment, it's kind of hard to debunk.
That is kind of hard to debunk because you think it's not. Well, we could talk about the Ocean Gate that was out there with their submarine. But you think about the submarines that are usually going through this area are very specific, like military grade submarines. Like people aren't just taking submarines out there for a pleasure
No, we don't
cruise.
have one here that we can use. I don't know anybody that has a sub. So,
I sold mine a couple of years ago. Wasn't getting the use out of it that I thought I would.
so you're right. Most of the traffic that would go through it under the ocean would be military submarines, probably 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
99 times out of 100. Okay. So what's with the submarines?
They're getting some weird calls and they're picking up some weird static on it. And you think if these submarines are picking this stuff up, this is very high tech equipment that's picking it up.
Right. Digital high-end brand new equipment. Okay. So we've kind of established that there are ghosts in the ocean. Now, this isn't new, right? There's been ghost stories, some of the most famous on the oceans, ghost ships, movies made of those types of, environmental things where ghost ships show up.
Did you see the movie Ghost Ship?
Yes, I did.
So in 2025, technology is pretty terrible.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
is.
actually a really good movie.
It's a good movie, and it is creepy. And again, anytime I go to the shore, you always hear tales, and I've had people tell me tales of, ghost ships and ghosts that come from the ocean and walk on land and for specific reasons. There's been plenty of movies like that. Of course, we're talking pop culture here, but seafaring people have been around a long time.
And you're right. Like some of the earliest were the Flying Dutchman.
Oh, yes.
Which I will admit I don't know a ton about, and I intended to go through and research it, but didn't get a chance this week. And the Mary Celeste, which is actually probably a good one for us to talk about at some point.
Right, and we can maybe just piggyback both of those on there because the Flying Dutchman was one of the very first ghost ships that people talked about. It does still show up places, I think.
It does, yes.
And it's been documented to do so. Again, is there any theories here?
So we can use the Flying Dutchman, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but isn't seeing the Flying Dutchman bad luck?
Yes.
Okay, so let's segue that. So if we say that seeing the Flying Dutchman is bad luck and the Flying Dutchman is cursed, let's segue into was the Titanic cursed?
Oh, okay.
So I think that at some point you and I just need to do a full episode on curses because things happen all the time because of curses.
Right. There seems to be something happens and the word curse is placed into the sentence somehow. And of course, we found out from Lake Lanier, a cursed lake, that maybe it's not truly cursed. There is some strange things happening there. There are ghosts there, but is it really cursed because of the number of people that died in the lake? Well, we did the math, and it's not an unusual amount considering how big the lake is, how long it's been there, and the circumstances. So having said that, we can kind of look at curses to say that maybe not.
Well, in this case, definitely not. I will throw in another piece of recommended reading, which is Darcy Coates' From Below, which is, that is a fantastic book too. I love that book too. And that book, they really did have a curse on the ship.
Okay.
That caused a whole mess of things to happen that eventually led to the ship sinking. And it's another diving in a cursed ship kind of thing. That's also a really good book.
Okay.
But this one really did not happen. So what they say happened to the Titanic was that in the Titanic's cargo hold was a cursed mummy. And it was so far as to be known as the unlucky mummy.
Wow. That isn't a very catchy name, though.
I mean, at least the Flying Dutchman is like, they could have called it, like, they could have given it some fancy Egyptian name or something, and they didn't. Like, the
Yeah.
Unlucky Mummy. Like,
Not very good at marketing their curse.
pretty sure that some of my friends, that was their screen name in college.
Yeah, probably was. So this supposedly a mummy in a sarcophagus, I'm assuming, right, was on the ship. Was it?
It was not. And that is the number one way to debunk this, is because this mummy exists. And it is very firmly in a museum in London. It has never left the museum. It was never on the
Not
Titanic.
teleported there?
No, it never made a quick appearance, like never guest starred on the Titanic, was not scheduled for entertainment, any of these things. It was always in London. And the way that they created this was through journalists and writers at the time. There was a well-known, now remember, this was 1912. This is Victorian times. Victorians were very into spiritualism. Yes. And there was a very well-known spiritualist on the Titanic. And they think that the journalists and the writers started, like, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, embellishing these tales to go along with the spiritualism of the time, the writer that was on there. And it was a good story. It was a fun ghost story. But no, the mummy is still in London to this day, has never made an Atlantic crossing.
So no mummy. So no curse.
No. Well, maybe it was cursed with something else, but it was definitely not cursed by that mummy.
Okay. No curse there. Okay. So, when people are watching, you hear about ghosts and you think of apparitions like we talked to the Lady of the Lake in Lake Lanier. Basically, we have that shirt on our Etsy store. We have a link to that store in the description box. Take a look.
I am not wearing one of our shirts
she did
tonight.
not wear one of the shirts, and neither am I. Mine's the Bigfoot Expedition shirt, and hers is a Titanic shirt. But you can go and check those things out. So the Lady in the Lake, they see a lady walking across the water.
Yes.
So when we think of ghosts, that's what we kind of think of. The Fog, the movie The Fog.
Oh, that was also
Awesome
a really
movie.
good movie.
Very good movie. They came out of the water. Creepy. So what else is happening that we want to say that the Titanic is haunted, or it still is reaching out from the oceans and haunting people or things?
So we've talked about the more modern day, when the Titanic wreck was discovered, when it was those types of hauntings. The hauntings actually started pretty close to the ship sinking.
Okay.
And people saw ghost ships of the Titanic very quickly after the sinking. One of the stories that I could find that, again, I don't have a source for a lot of these, but that's okay because they're just really fun ghost stories to hear about. So take from them what you will. Was that the Titanic had two sister ships. They had the Britannic and they had the Olympic. The Olympic was the last of the two to remain. The Titanic and the Britannic both sank. So it was not a very lucky.
Wasn't a lucky.
It was not a lucky fleet.
Yeah.
So the Olympic is sailing along, doing its thing, when all of a sudden, ghost ships of the Titanic and the Britannic appear beside it and start sailing along. And that's not the only weird thing to happen in terms of the Olympic.
Now, who witnessed this?
It was passengers on the Olympic, and they were passengers who were in different classes who wouldn't have mixed.
Okay, right. There still was as we have today, the very rich and the middle class poor.
And then the really poor.
And they never meet.
No.
Okay.
No. So it was for a group of people to repeat these and not having intermixed and been like, okay, well, I'm going to go up and talk
Trade
to the
stories.
first. Yeah. And they even had, you think they had different staff. So it's not like somebody in another class could have told their steward. Well, the stewards could have intermingled with each other. So maybe, but maybe not. The other thing that happened with the Olympic was the Olympic was sailing over the wreck site of the Titanic. And as it's sailing along, ship starts to shake. And they knew they were over the Titanic's wreck site. It was an underwater earthquake that was felt for miles around, so far as to trigger a tsunami in Newfoundland that I think killed 20 people.
Wow. Now, for those of you thinking about this, and I know we have some thinkers in the audience, there are shipping lanes. And of course, yes, the Olympic would be in those same shipping lanes everybody uses where the Titanic sank. There's not separate ways to go to places. There's shipping lanes that everybody uses. So, yes, you're got a good chance of going over or near the site of the Titanic. So there was an earthquake. What do they think caused it?
It's a standard. So if you go by the standards, it was just a regular earthquake, caused by the typical plate shifting that causes the earthquakes.
But it was good timing.
It was good timing, and that's very coincidental. Was the Titanic just the energy from all the spirits in the ship? Was it just saying hello to its sister ship as it sailed by?
This is the mystery, isn't it?
It is.
So you have this earthquake. As the Olympic goes over the area, you also have the two ships that basically flanked. I guess were they on both sides?
Yes, one on either side.
Flanking the remaining sister ship that's alive. And we have witnesses to that. Okay, Sue, so we go from, this dark time of the seas where the majestic Titanic sinks, shocks the world. And of course, a lot of movies have been made, a lot of massive amounts of Titanic History Channel documentaries.
I told Dave this. I will tell you all this. Go on Amazon Prime. It's free. Watch Titanic 666. It is a total clickbait title, but it is not a bad way to spend an hour and 20 minutes. If you work from home like I do, it is a really great thing to put on the side if you just need a few minutes to relax and just something. It's not a bad way to kill an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay, so the 666 is the clickbait.
It's totally clickbait.
It has nothing to do with the movie.
No, there's definitely ghost, and it's what something bad happens when a ship sails over top of the Titanic's wreck.
Okay, so when you do book your next cruise across the Atlantic, talk to your cruise line to see how close to the Titanic you get.
So, and one of our channel regulars, my friend Michelle, hi Michelle Lee, when you guys book your next cruise, be very careful if you're heading towards the Titanic wreck site. I know you guys usually go more down towards the Bahamas, but if you guys decide to go that way, just confirm if you're going towards the Titanic site.
Right. Okay. Well, by the way, if you like our content, Sue and Ashley and myself, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share our videos. We want to grow our channel. Squatch that like button. Squatch the bell, which is an icon that will let you know when we release a new video. And, of course, go to our Etsy store. There's quite a few items you might be interested in. I think Sue is still working on with the creators.
Yeah, I need to talk to our creator about that, and I can probably get us. Maybe I'll get like Bigfoot sailing the Titanic or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're part of the Bigfoot research team, by the way, so you'll enjoy some of those videos on our channel. And please binge watch all of our videos. I know you'll love them, and I think you'll always want to come back for more. Okay, Sue, so we're back. So what other types of ghosts or sightings has there been that's related or connected to the Titanic?
So let's talk about some of the artifacts. And there's been a lot of discussion over the years if they should actually pull artifacts out of the wreck. Right. Because it really is the grave of 1,500 people.
It's almost like a memorial.
It is, yes. So should we leave it in peace? Should we, take some stuff for research? What's the plan? And they have gone down and taken some items because, for anybody who doesn't know, Titanic broke in half when it sank. And so in between the two halves is a big debris field. So they have picked some stuff up, like they've picked up some coal, which we'll talk about a little bit. They have picked up some dishes. They've picked up some deck chairs and stuff that were salvaged from the wreck. And they have put a lot of those into exhibits. There are long-standing exhibits in Las Vegas, Branson, Pigeon Forge, and there's one in Belfast, over in Ireland, where the Titanic was constructed.
Yeah.
So I've seen 2 Titanic exhibits in Pittsburgh, and I've been to the Pigeon Forge Museum. And they are really cool exhibits. Like, if you get a chance to go to one of the museums, especially the one in Pigeon Forge or Branson, great experiences. Like, really great experiences.
And you might meet somebody there from that era.
So that is exactly what's happened because, as we've kind of talked about, objects can become haunted, like we talked about in our Annabelle the Doll video. And there have been some stories that have come out of these museums where people have felt someone touch them, people have heard voices. Staff at the museum have heard children's voices. Ghost Adventures went out there several years ago. They went to the one in Branson, and take it for what you will, because it's Ghost Adventures.
Yes.
And so they're obviously going to find something, but it does make the point that there are these stories out there. I have a friend who had an experience with a ghost at the Orlando exhibit. The Georgia Aquarium, when they had a rolling exhibit, they also had some strange occurrences happen there. One of the weirdest issues that has occurred was, are you familiar with who Bruce Ismay was?
No.
Okay. So Bruce Ismay was the president of the White Star Line.
Okay.
He was on the Titanic for the maiden voyage, and Bruce Ismay has gone down in history, and Mr. Mike Brady over on Ocean Liner Designs has a really good video about Bruce Ismay. He's gone down in history as kind of the villain because Ismay got onto one of the lifeboats. And when they were evacuating the Titanic, it was women and children first. Men stayed behind until they got all the women off. Obviously, that didn't go as well as anybody had hoped.
Didn't go well at all.
No, it did not. So technically, for the times, Ismay should have remained on the boat. But he got into a lifeboat, and everyone can go do their own research on this. I won't give the history of it. I don't believe that Ismay was as in the wrong as history wants to make him. But despite the fact that the White Star Line cleared him of any wrongdoing, he was villainized for the rest of his life. And his life was just absolutely ruined by saving himself on the Titanic.
Well, he had a choice there, and obviously he can either be a ghost.
Well, I don't know that I haven't heard any haunting stories about Ismay's haunting. But apparently the other ghosts who haunt these museums are not big fans of Ismay. Because,
what are the odds?
Right, at the Branson Museum, the staff came in and they noticed that one of the portraits of Ismay was on the floor.
Oh.
Now, they are not hanging these pictures and artifacts up with command hooks.
No.
They are hanging them up with, like, real sturdy, we want to preserve this because this is a very important piece of history items. So they do the logical thing. They put it back on the wall. And they say, okay, everything was, something must have happened. They come back again. The picture is on the floor. And we're not talking like falling over on the floor like something happened to it. We're talking like someone took it off and set it down neatly on the floor. So the staff says, all right, this is silly. We're going to go check the camera footage.
Oh.
What they see on the camera is the picture of Ismay neatly being jimmied off of the wall.
Up over the hooks that hold it?
Yeah, neatly being taken off like you would take a picture off of your wall and set down on the
So it
floor.
didn't just fall.
No, there was no...
Just neatly and...
Yeah, it was
happen.
carefully taken.
So it defied gravity.
Yes. So it's... To go with the expression, unseen hands were moving that. So somebody saw that picture of Ismay and went... Nope, we're not looking at that all the time. We don't like that guy.
Notice I used the word gravity in basically a paranormal video. We don't usually go that far into science.
But that's a good point.
But it is a good thought.
That's a good
Generally,
point.
if something falls, it's going to fall fairly hard if it's a heavy picture.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, apparently the video is out there on the internet. I could not find it, but apparently it is out there. So if you're going to go hunt for it, you can find the video of Ismay's picture being removed.
Okay, so we had Ismay's picture. We had coal.
We did have coal. So
That's odd to have coal as a...
all right, so I don't want to ruin this for anybody who may have a Titanic artifact. I once upon a time owned a bracelet that was supposedly contained coal from the Titanic and a necklace that supposedly contained coal from the Titanic. I realized today that I still had the charm that had the coal in it and then apparently had lost the coal. But you can believe whether or not that actually is coal from the Titanic, or did somebody just go to Walmart and get a bag of charcoal and put in there.
Yeah,
So
where they had a coal furnace. Hey, look.
believe what you want. I may have just given some people some ideas of how to make a quick buck this Christmas.
Yeah.
There's no way to debunk it, so do whatever you want.
I don't know. There's a test you can do for.
No, you can't. You truly can't. But a woman did purchase a piece of coal that was from the Titanic, and she went on to claim that she was haunted by a ghost of one of the Titanic's firefighters. So remember, Titanic had the
You had to shovel the coal into
you had
the
to shovel
boilers.
them in, yeah, and that's what powered the ship.
It's not the job I would want.
Well, they also would have been some of the first. Well, I think all of them died because they were working until the last minute to keep the lights going on the ship. So they were all still down at the bows of the ship when the ship went down. So these guys didn't survive. So it's possible if this really was a piece of coal from the Titanic, it could have actually been a ghost of one of these guys who lost their life.
Okay, so we have quite a few items here that, kind of connect to the Titanic, right?
Yes.
So what else do we have, Sue?
So we talked about the children who have been heard around the exhibits. We talked about the coal. The Titanic and the Olympic as well had a grand staircase. Now, if you look online at the pictures of the Titanic's grand staircase, supposedly no pictures of the Titanic's grand staircase exist, but the Olympic was identical to the Titanic. So it's all the Olympics grand staircase. Now, these grand staircases have been replicated in the museums. So the museum staff have seen women standing. I've seen a woman in black standing on the staircase. And one museum has reported seeing the ghost of John Jacob Astor standing on the staircase.
Wow. Okay, so it's interesting. I got to say this because we always hear about the women that are the haunting people. The women in a long robe, like in Lake Lanier. It's the woman in her gown walking across the water. The woman from the cemetery in Chicago. I forget what's
Resurrection Mary.
Resurrection Mary. She's in her gown walking her. It's always a woman. Well, at least we had one guy. But it always seems to be a woman standing there to haunt people. I wonder if they pick straws, say who's going to be the haunter right now. It's got to be a woman.
So I'm also going to play a card when it comes to the women and children haunting the Titanic. Now, most of the steerage passengers did die. A large portion of the steerage passengers did die. They did not get out. It was, priority. And there's a whole bunch of rumors about what happened to the steerage passengers.
Yes, and just to let you guys know, the reason that is because that was the Gilded Age. And that was not a good age to be a woman or a child in, or a minority.
Or an Irish.
Or the Irish. So you were stuck.
And there were a lot of Irish on the Titanic. And there's a lot of rumors about what may or may not have happened to the passengers, the third class passengers on the Titanic. But I believe it was Sam from Historic Travels said that the strongest belief is that the third class passengers just weren't that familiar with the ship. They weren't allowed to go up here. They had to stay down here in their little area. So when you tell them to get to the boat deck, they go, I don't want to get to the boat deck. I don't know how to go up to the lifeboats. So there's a whole bunch of that. But if you're going to see women at these exhibits well-dressed, not many women from first class, I believe it was only 2 women from first class passed away in the sinking.
Got pretty good odds. If you're rich, you're going to survive.
Only 1 child from the first class passed away. Women, I don't know statistics from second class, but no children were lost from second class.
So all the deaths would have been from the people on the lower decks.
So if you're going to see a ghost, chances are you're going to see a third class ghost, unless one of those 2 women who died from first class is really hanging on to this.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine a woman who survived in the first or second class deciding, you know what I'm going to go do? Go haunt one of these museums.
Yeah, it's my goal in life.
So I believe there are ghosts. I believe that these ghosts are still clinging to the past, but I don't know if the first or the second class ghosts are hanging on to it. Statistically wise, we're going to talk statistics again. I don't know about that.
Okay, so if you have a comment, please leave it in the comment section. We want to hear from you. What do you think here? Do you buy this? Do you think that the ghosts of the Titanic still roam the oceans, have reached out into the shores of America, have used radio waves to warn that they are in distress?
Have you seen them at one of the museums? I have not. I did not see anything weird when I was at the museums or the exhibits.
So the thing is, now we're getting into the haunting season, as we do here, and we definitely want to kind of stir it up. And this was a pretty good, easing into this season for the Nights Around the Fire team here. And I think Ghost of the Titanic, every time I think about the Titanic or any shipwreck, it creeps me out. I mean, I can't imagine dying in the ocean in the dark and the cold. I mean, there's a lot of crazy things that happen on the seas for decades, for centuries, that sailors have talked about. So this isn't far-fetched. This isn't like out of the box here. There's definitely a lot to some of these stories. And of course, we know there's other shipwrecks we talked about. The ghost ships that just appear. We know that, although the Titanic only appeared once, right, that we know of.
A handful of times.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like it appears regularly.
Okay, so occasionally it's there. Of course, it's a big ocean.
Yeah.
I don't know where
might be out there right now.
the Mary Celeste goes, or any of these other ships. And of course, that doesn't account for the Bermuda Triangle.
That's a whole other thing that we should talk about. Yeah, because okay. Let's put that on our list of things to talk about.
There are actually 3 triangles. There's the Bermuda Triangle. There's one in Alaska, and there's one up in Maine, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And disappearances. Of course, that's a whole other thing. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned here. Hit that little bell icon so that when we bang it hard, because you want to make sure we hear it. So we'll let you know that we're releasing a new video. There's basically a target-rich environment everywhere here.
Really is. We hit everything.
Okay, so Sue, what's your conclusions on the Titanic here?
So one other person that we have to talk about from the Titanic is Captain Smith. Edward Smith was the captain of the Titanic.
Who did go down with the ship.
He did go down with the ship, and he has supposedly been seen since. His operation has been seen on other ships. It has been seen in some of the museums. Now, I will say, when I was at the Pigeon Forge Museum, the guy who portrays Captain Smith at the exhibit, he will kind of creep you out because you walk in and he really does look like him, and you're like, wait, is that? Oh, no, he really is a human. Never mind. But I think one of the weirdest stories is that on the night of the sinking, a lot of family members had a lot of distress that night. They had weird dreams. They had weird premonitions. Captain Smith's wife was at their home in England, and his wife supposedly saw him walk through the sitting room and open the window. And she went, okay, this isn't possible. He's out at sea on the Titanic. There is no way that he can be here. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with the ship. And apparently Smith's childhood home is also haunted.
He does double duty.
Captain Smith gets around. If you want to talk about a ghost,
he is a sailor.
He does. Well, and maybe that's it. Maybe he was used to being around a lot when he was alive, and now he's still doing it in death. Or maybe he's just really upset about what happened with the Titanic, and he can't rest.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did sort of make a few errors there to run into a iceberg. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a whole history. You know it already. If you don't, there's plenty in it.
If you don't, Sam and Mike Brady will help you out. They'll give you everything that you need to know about the history of the Titanic.
So we have quite a few characters that still are hanging around.
Yeah. I've only heard one instance of John Jacob Astor hanging around, but hey.
Where was he seen at?
It was the Branson Museum.
Maybe he liked Branson. entertainment's different there.
The entertainment's good. The weather's not too bad.
No, it's got decent weather compared to the North Atlantic.
And yeah, Pigeon Forge might be a little too touristy for him. Branson's a little more like classic.
Yeah, I heard Pigeon Forge is now a tourist disaster.
It really is, but I did tell my sister today that I wanted to go back just because I wanted to go to the Titanic Museum again.
Oh, see, Sue lives the part here. Which you see with Sue with these particular podcasts, you get.
This is not just for the camera.
No,
this is how I live my life.
Yeah, we've known Sue for a long time, and she's always loved this type of talk. She has her own podcast.
I do. Crime and Corgis pod, covering some crime here in Western Pennsylvania specifically, but we will branch a little further if you want.
Okay, can they get that?
Not yet. Our first episode isn't up yet, but if you do have some stuff that you want to put out that you want us to talk about, crimeandcorgispod@gmail.com.
Okay, that's it. crimeandcorgispod@gmail.com. That's a true crime podcast, and of course, a lot of people love that stuff. And we've had a few strange murders here in southwestern PA and the Washington County area. Actually, it goes back to the basically the Italian mafia Black Hand. I hate saying that kind of occupied Canonsburg for quite a few years.
I don't know if that's something that we want to talk about here, or maybe we do. It might be a good one to talk about here.
Right, there's a lot. So, folks, stay tuned. And again, Sue will keep you updated when the Crime and Corgis podcast goes live. I know they're ready to I think, record.
We're ready to release. As soon as we get edited, we'll be ready to release. We should tell the folks about what we've got coming up here on the calendar.
Yeah, I mean, we do have Oktoberfest right off the bat. I want to talk
next
about.
Week. Yeah,
next weekend. That's the 19th, 20th, and 21st here in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. The Oktoberfest, it's a pretty big deal here. Sue and I will be there handing out flyers. My wife has a booth there selling books, and we're going to sort of use that as our base station and hand out flyers about our podcasts. And I think we're going to have an upcoming event at the Frank Serres Public Library.
We are.
We haven't decided that yet. I think we're going to try to decide that this week. If you live in this area, the tri-state area, try to make these events. We'd like to meet you firsthand. We also have some interesting guests coming up. And Sue, let's tell them about that.
So we do. So we are in the editing process of our first episode of our ghost hunting friends, who are Ken and Becky, who are from the local paranormal groups. We do. Just a reminder for you, we are recording with them on the 27th. They're going to tell us some of their ghost stories. We're going to be down at the All About Books, hearing some of their stories. We are going to be planning some more excursions with them in town. I've talked to them about that this week. So you guys will get to see some of our footage in the upcoming videos and get to hear some of their tales. And these guys are legit. Like, you're going to see some of their equipment and how it works and really what they pick up. What else am I forgetting that we've got coming up?
The author.
Yeah, we are getting situated to talk to local author Tony Lavorne, whose last name I may or may not have pronounced correctly. He has written a bunch of local history books on ghost and hauntings in this area, and does a lot of public speaking on ghost in this area. So he will be telling us some of his stories for the haunt season.
Right. So you can see we have a lot of things happening, and we are going to go on a little bit of a Bigfoot hunt. Hopefully we can get the whole crew to do this. It's going to be in an area that I've been told might have some suspicious activity, Bigfoot activity. So,
probably got some hauntings too.
And maybe some hauntings. We're going to go all out. We're going to go out there and bring our cameras, and we're going to see what's happening. So you'll get that video in the can and on the video channel here when it's done. That's going to be in October. So we're a busy group, and we want to continue to produce shows you want to hear. And of course, as Sue mentioned, we have a comment section where you can comment, or you can also leave an email at
strangeworld777@yahoo. And we've got some emails, we've got some comments, we've got some requests for upcoming topics. So you guys are keeping us busy.
Let us know. Yeah, there's a lot. And sometimes we have to pick and choose, but we'll do it. I know Ashley has decided she's going to do a video with me on NASA, the space agency, and the occult symbology they use there and a lot of the crazy things over the years that really don't add up. So we're going to talk about NASA. And like I said, we're having fun doing it. And we have two really good researchers between Sue and Ashley, and I'm along for the ride maybe. But again, if you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and share our videos.
We have 42 subscribers now.
We're up to 42. We'd like to get to 50 by the end of October.
Yeah, so 8 more.
So if you know people that like this type of content, grab them. Say, you have to subscribe to the Nights Around the Fire with Sue, Dave, and Ashley. And we'll make sure they enjoy the video as well. Squatch the like button. Make sure you squatch it. And check out that bell icon. Hit it. You'll get notified when we release a new video. Anything in closing, Sue?
No, not really, other than there's a lot of good and bad Titanic fiction out there. So go check it out. It's fun. Just understand what's fiction and what's nonfiction. There's a lot of great nonfiction out there too. So we can recommend that too.
Right. If you just want a good story, and this is a great campfire story.
Yeah, and that's, as I was researching this, I was like, I'm not trying to debunk anything or prove anything. I'm just telling a ghost story here.
And let's be honest, the tale of the Titanic speaks for itself.
Yes.
You know, we can add color to it and tell you some of the things that people have seen or heard or witnessed. At the end, it's a nice story to tell around a fire or on a rainy night, and especially over the haunting season of Halloween, which really has begun, I think, in earnest everywhere across the country.
Yeah, it's spooky season officially.
Well, thanks for watching. That's all the time we're going to have today. I hope you enjoyed everything, and I will see you next time right here on Nights Around the Fire. See you then.
Bye, guys.